Welcome to this week's episode of Geeky Speakus, everyone. Bit of bad news. Brian is not doing great mentally. So instead of doing a normal episode, he's going to go on a hiatus for a bit. So for this episode, it'll be just for me. We wanted to release, excuse me, at least something for you guys. We didn't want there to be another week without a post. But because of his absence, and right now we don't know how long it's gonna be for reference, we may not have more episodes going forward, only because I may not have a guest or a co-host to come on. But if I can, I am gonna have somebody else come on as a co-host. If that's the situation, great. We'll have another episode. We'll post at a normal time. I do have some things in the works now. We're just waiting to hear back from that. But for going forward, until further notice, Brian will not be in episodes going forward. And I'm not gonna lie, I am also I'm a bit busy nowadays, so I will be a bit sporadic in my ability to post. Like I said, hopefully this will just be temporary. But without giving too much to say, well, without giving out too much, let's just say I'm going into pre-production for a few things. When the time comes, I'll talk about on the show, and hopefully you'll see or hear me on other people's shows. But with that in mind, I did want to go ahead and talk about two general subjects. The first one being is, well, I'm not going to go into as many details as we normally do for the show. I wanted to talk about a few things that stood out over the last couple weeks. That'll be the first bit, and the other bit here, I'm just going to talk a bit about mental health. So let's go ahead and get the geek news out of the way, if you will. Now, one of the first things that showed up on my list I really wanted to talk about is the new Sonic the Hedgehog live action movie trailer and how I don't like this. Honestly, Sonic looked just weirdly grotesque in my opinion. The animation was actually pretty good, CG wise was decent, but the character design just creeped me out. Also, why is no one talking about like around his mouth? In the video games, there's nothing there. That's just a bald spot, basically. But for the live-action Sonic, it is flesh-colored fur, and I find that weirdly disturbing. What are you doing? What is this, Sega? That aside, I just did not like it. It was really not good. I wanted to put that out there. The other bit here, we have a couple other stuff. First bit is, Will Smith is coming on a movie called Gemini Man, which is kind of like Fresh Prince versus Deadshot. I like to think of it as if John Wick had to kill himself. That's kind of what I was thinking. And it looks good but stupid, and I actually am looking forward to this. So this was great. I'm hoping that this will be a good movie, but this could be funny. Let's see what else. Oh, we got two new Persona games. Persona game announcements. We have Persona 5 Royal or Persona 5 R, which is going to be Persona 5 but with more content. I'm looking forward to that, honestly. And there's also going to be Persona 5 Scramble, which is going to be like Dynasty Warriors-esque from the looks of it, which I'm actually okay with it. It kind of fits. One of the things I wanted to do while it was still going strong is that unfortunately Peter Mayhew died on April the 30th at the age of 74, which is very sad. As anyone who may not know, he played Chewbacca in the Star Wars series since like the beginning, and it's really unfortunate that he is now passed. Condolences to him and his family. It's really hard loss for anybody. Other bit of good news here. We did get news that Witcher is being released this fall. It looks like November probably. It's going to be the Henry Cavill series that Netflix is doing. I am still looking forward to this, which is good. But this is this is good. Even if I am kind of iffy about how he's way too pretty. Like Geralt is gruff looking, and Henry Cavill is just like the new man pretty, I guess. So it just doesn't work for me so far. But who knows? Maybe it'll be good. Uh, and more good news here is that the 4th of May, may the 4th be with you, is recognized in California as an actual holiday. On that note, on the Revenge of the 5th, I drank a fifth of tequila, which is ironic because it's also Cinco de Mayo. But I don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo because I'm an American, and Cinco de Mayo is a minor Mexican holiday, and it's weird that Americans still do that. Instead, I have set my holiday of Tequila Appreciation Day, or, depending on your preference, Tequila Acquisition Day, or, if I can pull that up here, there we go, no, not Tequila, excuse me, Tequila Appropriation Day. That's the one I've been running with primarily. But it's kind of weird that Americans always steal that holiday specifically, and then use it as a reason to drink. I think that people are they're just looking for a reason to drink when I just drink. Just saying. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna move on to, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to a bit about mental health. Now, mental health is something that we have a serious problem with in America, in the aspect that it's not being treated, and we still have some weird negative stereotypes about it. With mental health, one of the biggest problems we're running into is that we don't have an infrastructure set to help people unless they're willing to pay a ton of money. I'm not going to get into the social aspect of it, I'm just pointing out the obvious. Brian is not going to be in this episode, and who knows how many episodes going forward because of mental health. I can't blame him because I've thought about doing the same thing, honestly. Lately, my mental health has been manageable but not great. To get a little raw, I found somebody who I had deep feelings for, and it went nowhere. And I know I'm not the first person to feel that, but doesn't stop it from hurting any less. I've also I've also had problems with like self-doubt. We're into a lot of that. I've been writing more, which feels good. I really like making things. I love making shows. I love writing. I love putting this stuff out there. But I'm doubting myself a lot. One of the big reasons for that is that I feel like if I work with a writing partner, I may override them. Or if I work solo, I will always just critique my own stuff as terrible, utter garbage. And that's not great. It's not good for my mental health, so I've been trying to run it through my head, get things solved. Now, for some people out there, it's not that simple. For some people, they fight constantly with their mental health. So I want to go ahead and give a few things out there that while they're not, they may not be exactly what you need, I hope for the person that does need this, that this works. The first bit here, and we've talked about this before, is the suicide hotline. Okay, so the suicide hotline's phone number is 800-273-8255, and there does seem to be an online chat as well. And I could perfectly understand why someone may think that suicide is an option, but I'm going to let you know it's not. It really isn't. And this is coming from a person who's had his own bouts with suicidal tendencies. Because all you're doing is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Yeah, life sucks sometimes. But what you need to hold out for is hope. Hope that things will get better. Find people in your life that you love and set up a support network to help them. Well, not to help them, for them to help you, sorry. Help each other. Whenever someone is down, even if you're not feeling the best, help each other out. This is really important. And I think with this, we could try and set up just like a community amongst all of us for better mental health. Because right now, the only people we can rely on are each other. So if you're ever feeling down, I know what the feeling is like. You don't want to talk to anybody. Don't do that. Talk to somebody. Talk, whether it be a friend or family or just someone you really trust. Presumably that would go back to friend, but just saying. Talk to someone who you really trust and have them sit down and listen, even if it's just them nodding their heads. And if you're somebody who gets somebody to talk to them about their mental health issues, sit there and listen. Talk with them. If something can be solved, try and help them. But don't override, how they feel in that situation. And I hate to say this because even I'm bad at doing this myself. If someone is toxic, if someone in your life is always talking about them, it's very much in the way of narcissism for about themselves, or if they have toxic behaviors, it might be time to let them go, which is not preferential. Trust me, I get it. I have a hard time doing that as well, but it could be ultimately better for you to remove that person out of your life than would be to have them ruin yours because they feel like that what they're doing is more important than how you're feeling. I'm not a psychiatrist, obviously. I'm a schmuck on a podcast, but it is very much an important thing to set up a network of people who you trust and love, who trust and love you. And it's very important to take the people in your life who probably aren't the best, probably are way too much consider themselves over you. And I'm not talking about they always have to think about you, but if you're coming to them with a problem and all they talk about is either being negative or be talking about their issues and they're being a narcissist about it, then maybe you should consider putting them out of your life, and then set it up as a amicable terms. You just walk away and say, hey, I can't do this anymore. Our friendship is no longer fun. It's no longer good, and it's not helping me as a person. Now, I'm not usually one for this pseudo spiritual stuff that comes with this type of ideology, but it is very much something that we all need to do in our lives. If there's someone in your life that you don't feel like can help you or trust you or be there for you, then maybe not be a good idea to keep them there. And if you want to talk with us, we'll do what we can. Admittedly, I have 11-hour days, so I will try my best. I do come off a bit robotic in text, though. If you want to message us, like I normally say, you can find us at gspeakus@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at Geekaspeakus, on Facebook, facebook.com/Geekaspeakus. I do have some news at the end of this episode as well, but I wanted to keep this keep this whole mental health talk still going. Now, with life, it just seems like there's a lot of struggle, and I get it. I get that more than people may think. In my general demeanor, especially in this show, I tend to have a happy attitude, kind of a goofy sort of thing. I'm not always that way because I don't want to bring you guys down. I don't want to bring anybody down. Which is not always the best for my personal life, but I don't want to bring you, the audience, down. So what I do is I find people that I trust, friends, family, people who can understand this, and I get together with them, and I talk with them and tell them how I'm feeling. This is very much a stark contrast to how I was raised, not by my family, but by the culture around me, which stated that men can only be angry, annoyed, horny, or pissed. Their anger comes in variation. You get the idea. Now that I'm older, I realize it's I need to be able to show that I'm anxious. I need to be able to show that I'm sad or depressed. I need to be able to express to people how I feel about them. There are ways to do that without being annoyingly direct. And that's what I've been working on. The ultimate goal is just to be a better communicator for that one, but I do have a habit of not telling people in my life when I'm particularly sad or depressed, and it's not their fault, it's mine. But I've been working on for the last couple of years, since a little bit before this show started. I've been working on talking with people in my life and letting them know how I'm feeling so that they can talk with me, even if it's just for a few minutes, and then we end in a good laugh. I feel as though that is a lot healthier than bottling it up, which is what I used to do. What I used to do is I would take all my anger and depression and anxiety and I'd bottle up, and that got transformed into rage. I'm getting a lot better than I used to be, but when I was younger, when I was a young man, I used to have rage difficulties. Punch walls kind of stuff, punch lockers, punch cement, whatever. You get the idea. I used to yell to express my anger, and I still do that sometimes. Just a primal yell, because it does help when I'm particularly angry. But it's not healthy. That way of bottling up all those emotions are not healthy. So I thought, why should I do this? It's not healthy for me. It's not good for anybody else, and all I'm doing is repressing my rage. Or if I'm expressing my rage, it's not in a healthy manner. So I'm trying to find alternatives. I've been doing that for over 10 years now. I've been trying to find better ways to express my anger, my depression, my anxiety. Trust me when I say I'm almost always uncomfortable, even in my own house. I constantly think my friends think little of me, even if they don't. I overthink things all the time, and it's like not the healthiest thing to do. But I do it anyway, despite knowing all this information, because it's what I'm used to, which doesn't make it right. It's just what I'm used to. So if you have similar issues, if you're running into anxiety issues, depression, then talk to somebody that you care about. And if you don't feel like you could talk to somebody who in your life because you're worried about them judging you, and I know you probably know this, but I want to put this out there anyway, they probably won't judge you because they probably love you. But if you prefer a stranger and you're feeling like you're at the point when you're almost to the point of no return, call that suicide hotline. That's 800-273-8255. I know it's weird to talk about mental health on a show that's a goofy talk show about geek culture. It is. But this is our meta or non-canon episode, I guess. This will not even be numbered. This is just going to be an episode I wanted to put out there for all of you. And the other is that it is something we all need to talk about once in a while. And after many, many years, people are just now talking about it. And I'm hoping that with this will lead to somebody who needs to hear this. Will hear what I'm saying and then take the steps to help themselves. Will take the steps to help themselves. Even if because I understand that sometimes it feels like there is no good ending. There's always going to be a bad ending. Well, don't worry, because it's going to seem that way, but it's just like looking at anything. From a small purview, it looks one way, but if you think about it from a further back purview, if you think about it from a distance, from the outside looking in, you realize it's really not as bad as you think it is. Sometimes it does seem like that bad, but it really isn't. Also, I do want to point out that the suicide hotline does have its own Twitter. That's the Lifeline at 800-273-TALK. That's their official Twitter page. If you're feeling particularly down or upset, close to suicide, then tweet at them or message them. Do it, direct messaging. Or if you are feeling really down, hit me up. Even as my personal Twitter, admittedly, I am not the best. I'm not a psychiatrist. I will do my best to help you, but you can find me at Geekestein. I will do my best, but or you can message us on at Geekespeakus, our show's Twitter. We will do our best. I will do my best, and we'll see what we can do to help. The type of sadness that you're feeling is going to be temporary, and I know how much it sucks, but it'll be okay. Ultimately, it will be okay. I think going forward, I'm going to go ahead in the episode on this note. There's some things I want to tell you. We do have good news. Now, I get that this is probably not the greatest episode to start off with on this, but we did set up a Patreon. Our goal is only $10 a month, and that's just to help, fund the hosting fees for the show. We only have one tier right now, but we may add more tiers later, and the one tier is for The one tier is for what we call the tip jar, which is every month you give us $1. That's all it is. Our ultimate goal is just for the show to pay for itself. Someday we'd like to go further, but this is what we have right now, and it works fine. We do appreciate everyone who listens. Thank you for sitting with me through my weird ramblings. If you ever do need help, please talk to somebody, a friend or family member, because they do care, they do love, but someone does care about you. So, on that note, I'd like to thank you all for listening. Hopefully, our next episode, when we do release, will be a normal episode. And thank you everyone for listening. We've been doing this for over 2 years now. This is the first real hiatus we've been on. We've had short hiatuses, hey, we're busy, our schedules clash, that kind of thing. But hopefully, in the upcoming months, we'll have some normal episodes again. I'm gonna see if Brian's not gonna be back, which is fine. He needs to take his time. I'm gonna see if I can get any guests on. If you want to come on the show, we are accepting open calls, so you can tweet at us or send us a message on Facebook, or you can email us at speakus@gmail.com. We do appreciate everyone who listens to our show, and if you feel as though you like our show normally, I get this is probably not the best episode to start off with, but if you like our show normally, consider donating. That's patreon.com/gspeakus is the URL. And, we appreciate everyone who stays with us. We appreciate everyone who has been with us over the years. We want to expand and put ourselves out there more. But right now, we got to focus a bit on us. So, and if you ever need to do this, you should focus on yourself as well. That's going to be the end of the episode. I'm sorry it's a lot shorter than we normally do. It's just, I can only blabber on by myself for so long. But I would like you all for listening once again, and, have a good night.